Thank you for joining A Shark's Perspective, the podcast with subject matter experts in marketing. Blockchain is continuing to grow in importance in the marketing industry, yet still so few people understand it and its importance. One of those helping that edification is Nataliya Stanetsky, who is the organizer of the Women in Blockchain group in New York and a program manager at Google. And on this episode, we'll discuss the role of blockchain in marketing and advertising, as well as the needed diversity of women in marketing technology. So let's tune in to a blockchain innovator with an unchained shark on this episode of A Shark's Perspective. Nataliya, thank you so much for joining us on A Shark's Perspective. I wish if you would tell us a little bit about your background and your career thus far. I know that you're representing, your own points of view. You work for Google, but you're not representing them. You're representing yourself and women in blockchain. But tell us a little bit about your own background and career.
Hi, thank you for welcoming me. My name is Natalia, and so like you mentioned, I currently work for Google. I just recently joined, but definitely not representing Google here. I co-organize Women in Blockchain group in New York, and we're building a large community around the world. In terms of my background, so I really started off as an accountant over 10 years ago. And I gradually transitioned into technology, go first by going into the big four consulting services. I spent a number of years just concentrating on business operation compliance, and then gradually transitioned into IT and business compliance. As part of my business development work when I was at PwC, I discovered blockchain technology. And this was something that when I was researching new and innovative technologies, and I wanted to understand how and what we want to offer to our clients and what we want to talk to them about.
So, what interested you about it? I mean, was there some sort of connection with blockchain to marketing, or was it the blockchain from your accounting days? What really represented, or sort of piqued that interest for you?
At that point in time, I was primarily concentrating on financial services
Sure.
industry. So back then, when I realized the impact of blockchain technology can do on financial services, I I had to dive deeper. I understand that blockchain in particular was very helpful in reconciliation of various financial operations in the middle and the back office. Clear it would, as we will speak further, blockchain eliminates the need for the third party, where you have clearing and settlement services, and this is where what blockchain basically would eliminate that. And when I discovered that, I just had to understand more, and I fell fell in love with blockchain.
Yeah. Well, then talk a little bit about something you're heavily involved with, and that's women in blockchain. And why do you think that's an important group? It's a pretty large group in New York, right?
Yes, it's from I guess the Women in Blockchain groups in New York. It's definitely one of the biggest communities. We also have member groups in Australia, in Europe, and I guess all over the world. Really, we have a Slack specifically for Women of Blockchain. We have LinkedIn group, etc. But the reason why I got involved in Women of Blockchain because technology in general, I guess, doesn't is not diverse, not diverse enough. And when you look at the blockchain technology, there is definitely a lack of diversity and different opinions from the rest of the world. Historically, women have been sidelines in the definition of system and processes. So I guess from my perspective, it was imperative to actively participate and be recognized as leader to help define that new digital future,
Sure.
and to actively bring in more women into this new technology.
That's fantastic. Roughly how many members do you have now in your chapter?
We are, I would say, over 2,600 at the
Wow,
moment. Yep. And our member teams are growing close to that number as well.
that's fantastic. So then let's dive in a little bit into the topic at hand, and that is blockchain. How do you see blockchain changing the role for marketers today? And a little bit, if you will, kind of back that up with a little bit of context. Where does blockchain fit into the marketing mix today?
Well, first of all, blockchain being such a new technology, it will probably take, I would say, a few years before it will
Good
actually
point.
make a difference. I think we're at a point where we comfortably can say that we can use blockchain for financial services or supply chain management in whether it's in pharmaceuticals or beauty products or food or diamonds or anything like that. But when we think about specifically marketing and advertising, given that we have such big players in the industry that are middlemen in this industry, it's going to take some time before, if ever, they are eliminated. I know from speaking with my former CMO team when I worked with L'Oreal. I know particularly they were concerned with ad fraud and I guess consumer ad trusts. I guess these were their biggest concerns, and I feel like this is where potentially blockchain could make a difference because at the core, blockchain are distributed ledgers, and this is where everybody has access, and there are clear rules on it can how anything can be changed in on that specific ledger. So from trust perspective, if you show what's on the ledger and people can trust it as opposed to not realizing what's happening behind the closed doors, it's going to make it easier for marketers, I guess, in advertising to uh, to do the ads and marketing, make it also cheaper potentially in the future.
So one of the things that I read from a Forbes article not that long ago was, that advertising would become more transparent. Can you walk us through how you see advertising becoming more transparent with blockchain?
Sure. So in terms of how advertising can become more transparent, I could offer, I guess, a few examples of two different companies that are already making a difference in advertising space. One of them is called AdChain. It's built by MetaX.
Mm-hmm.
So it essentially offers a protocol for establishing a trusted relationships by buying and selling advertising space on their using their native token. So the token would represent their right as a shareholder on that network. Together with other shareholders, the network members will have that incentive to keep the network clean from fraudulent or low value publishers. In return, members will benefit by getting more ad value for the investment and I guess a verifiable campaign auditing through cryptographically secure impression tracking. So that would be one of them. There's another company, it's called Papyrus, and essentially it's I guess it's similar in nature, but it aims to create efficiency through transparency, almost like a supply, I guess, a chain within uh, the network of all the users. So Papyrus users will um, will be able to control the ads that they see and what kind of data that they share with advertisers. Um, so essentially, if you want to offer the users a certain targeted ad for in return for certain valuable information, it will all be traced on a platform. And it was, I guess, similarly, I guess, psychologically, potentially, when people will people know that it's targeted and they know this is the kind of information that they're willing to share and they get paid for it. I guess it's easier and more comfortable and more trustworthy, more transparent
Yeah,
in a
and
sense.
you brought up another good point about it with the publishers too. That should, I would think, make the publishers a lot more accountable than they've been in the past, because that does show, their own transactions being more transparent and being able, advertisers should be able to see where the traffic is going. Is that correct?
Yep, exactly. So in a sense, they would also, it's going to lower, I guess, lower the cost for advertising
Right.
potentially from their perspective as well.
So, Natalia, payment processing. How does blockchain help enable better payment processing in marketing and advertising?
Sure. So in terms of blockchain, I'm not sure if I don't know if it makes sense to dive into the traditional blockchain or how I guess it all started. But if you really think about, for example, Bitcoin that was built on, well, I would say plain blockchain,
Right.
you have you essentially have parties that are wanting to transact, and you have a kind of an independent miner who's confirming your transaction by via a consensus mechanism. And there are different types of consensus mechanisms. There's one for Bitcoin blockchain. There's one for Ethereum blockchain. There, there are all kinds of difference that are coming out in the blockchain space. But essentially, the idea is that if once you have people transacting, one sending transaction from point A to point B, there is that consensus mechanism that independently confirms that transaction went from a person A to person B, and they verify who that person is, or they verify from, I guess, marketing perspective, who that, I guess, publisher was that was paying or selling the transaction, and they verify the person B, whoever is receiving that transaction, and it's all done through through I guess consensus computer systems where you don't involve any third parties, any banks, any middlemen, or just regular people. It's all done independently, and you know that you can trust that because nobody
Hmm.
can go in and modify or make any changes. So from financial processing within the marketing space, that helps to verify that transaction indeed happened, and you can trust the person whoever sent that transaction, and you can trust the person who's receiving that transaction, and vice versa.
You come across a lot of people in the blockchain arena, and you are obviously running into a lot of marketers. Are they starting to reach out to you frequently for your point of view on how to get their hands on blockchain? I mean, it's obviously, misunderstood by most, but are you starting to hear a lot of people ask for more guidance on this today?
I think in generally we see a lot of people questioning blockchain and trying to understand how it works. Now that the hype around cryptocurrency is kind of diving down,
Hmm.
and people are realizing that there is actually a technology behind the cryptocurrency that
Right.
makes it all happen. So I guess from that perspective, yes, we do. We hold women in blockchain meetups on a monthly basis. So we have people, not just women, we have everybody coming over and trying to understand what blockchain is, and we bring in women from blockchain industry, speak about different use cases. So
Sharks are not invited, right? I know it's
you,
women in blockchain.
everybody is invited. We're open to allies. We're open to everybody.
Perfect. So, when they have a conversation with you about blockchain, what are you hoping that they can walk away with from that conversation so they can have a better understanding in blockchain as it affects marketing and advertising today?
I mean, my main goal really is to make sure that people actually understand what blockchain is.
Hmm.
And like I mentioned, from the fact that a lot of people were initially very hyped up about cryptocurrency and that it's really the only value in the blockchain itself.
Right.
But in reality, it is not. I mean, we're trying to make solutions using a decentralized technology where you can actually put on, I guess, securitize certain areas of marketing. Like, for example, even from, I guess, users and marketers. If you reward users for sharing their data with marketers, so you can make your ads more targeted, both parties win. Users win
Absolutely.
because they get value, and at the same time marketers get get value in terms of the data. Data nowadays is very expensive, and there is a lot of data that you can use to target various users. So I just want to make sure that people understand how blockchain can make this happen, how it works, and to make sure that people are not just interested in cryptocurrency itself.
Sure.
I'm trying to make sure that people are hyped up about the technology itself.
So I had the pleasure of seeing you speak at a digital marketing conference, and I'm curious as to what you enjoy and get out of speaking at those types of conferences. How has that helped you network and spread the word about blockchain?
I would say, even though in general it's a nerve-wracking experience, I do enjoy getting on stage and explaining what blockchain is, just from the very basic, how it works, how it came about, and what the benefits are. The other thing that I see very valuable is that I see more and more diverse people get involved in blockchain, and I'm even more passionate about that. I like to see that there is a diverse environment um, in the blockchain industry, and I want to spread the word and share it with people.
Well, at least you get to meet me. Those
That's true too.
I'm sure
Thank you.
that probably came up in your meeting. So, Natalia, where can people find out more about you, follow what you're doing, find out more about women in blockchain?
We have quite a few resources. So we definitely have a Twitter account, and it's WI Blockchain. It's a Twitter for specifically for New York, but a lot of people tag it for various events around the world. We have a global woman in blockchain group on LinkedIn, and we have a few members managing it. So if anybody wants to join in, they're welcome. We have Slack for women in blockchain, or I guess women interested in joining that specific Slack. It's for women only, so unfortunately I can't share that information. I can't share the link, but if anybody's interested in joining that particular Slack channel, they can email me, and I can share my email.
Thank you, Natalia, for speaking with us on A Shark's Perspective.
Thank you for letting me join. До свидания.
So there was my conversation with Nataliya Stanetsky, the organizer of the Women in Blockchain group in New York and a program manager at Google. Let's take a look at 3 key takeaways from our conversation with her. First, even with the hype of cryptocurrency losing some of its steam, blockchain is still a newish technology and will take some years to mature within marketing and advertising. It's going to take more time and a lot more education in order to break down those barriers. However, disruptors like this don't tend to go away without making a massive difference. Second, we need more diversity in marketing technology. Groups like Women in Blockchain give a great opportunity to bring in many more very smart technology marketers. It's great to see a chapter like the one in New York with so many smart women and well over 2,000 members. Third, when you think about the added transparency alone, blockchain provides a lot more trust. At the least, publishers will become more accountable, and equally attractive are the cost savings that will come from eliminating the middlemen within those advertising chains. Got a question? Please feel free to find me on LinkedIn or send me an email to kenneth@asharksperspective.com. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this show regarding another one of the many components that makes up marketing today. So don't wear, in the immortal words of the great Aretha Franklin, the chain of fools. Learn as much as you can about blockchain, become an expert, and join us on the next episode of A Shark's Perspective.